Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan. We're looking at a Honda Beat from 1991 with very low mileage, just 63,000 original kilometers. This one here was bought from auction for export over to the USA. Here's the auction sheet. We'll get to that in a second. This is Honda's tiny little K-car sports car, 64 horsepower. I'm not sure exactly the weight, but you saw that in the title card. It's probably somewhere in the range of 750 to 800 or so, if I were to guess. We got the engine in the middle. Comes with factory individual throttle bodies for excellent throttle response, and then revs up to 8,500 RPM. Now this compares quite favorably, I guess, to most other sports K cars. This and the Cappuccino are probably the two big ones from the early 90s. Here it says it's an M-Trek engine, and that stands for Multi-Throttle Response Engine Control, and that was the name for Honda's ITB system. Now this engine came in the Honda Beat, but also came in the Honda Today, I believe the JA4 generation of the Honda Today. And the only two cars I can think of that are factory Honda cars with individual throttle bodies. Of course, Honda bikes had individual throttle bodies, and Honda race cars, I'm pretty sure, did at some time. But street car with them, it's quite special, and it does make a very unique sound when you rev the engine. It makes 64 horsepower from 0.66 of a liter. It's a very small engine, but quite a bit of power, considering there's no multi-valving system like VTEC or anything like that. This was really before that became a thing. Right on the cusp of that becoming a thing, actually. Here in the front, you have the radiator, spare tire, and the brake booster, and that's pretty much it. Somebody put a Powered by Honda sticker on the front. Let's just close this clamshell. Notice you can see the tires from the top. Kind of cool. And then the headlights match up directly to where the wheel well is. Kind of a unique styling position. Now the engine doesn't seem to have any issues. Probably a good idea to change all of your fluids. You don't get much of a trunk. That's basically all you get. It is a K car. K car is the same class as the K trucks, like that, and the K vans, like that one there. And I guess it was a thing to have tiny little sports car K cars, more so then than it is now. And nowadays you get the kind of like Alto Works, K Works kind of K vehicles, and they're quote-unquote sports cars, but they're based on another economy version of the K car, whereas this was a dedicated sports model, which outside of the Copen I don't think you really get. And then I would argue that this is much more of a desirable / sportier car than the Copen is nowadays. Okay, so let's jump into the auction sheet here. This is all the information given to us from the auction. We also have a few extra questions here from the buyer, so I'll go ahead and read those as well. And keep in mind, yes, this is on its way to somebody already. This isn't a car that you can purchase. If you're interested, check out our website. There's a link to that in the description, and you can buy your own car from auction here in Japan. So, a 1991 Honda Beat with a 660cc engine. That's the max capacity for the K-car class vehicles. You can't have an engine bigger than that, and you can't have a footprint bigger than a certain size, which happens to be the exact size of a K truck. The Beat, I believe, is a little bit shorter than a K truck, so it's not at the maximum size capacity. Kind of like a mini NSX, actually. It even has the offset wheel size. We got 14-inch here and 13-inch here, whereas the NSX was a 14, the first generation, and a 15. So, kind of similar. And gotta love those phone dial wheels. I think they're really cool looking. Okay, anyway, back to this. Auction grade 4, interior B. This is a very high grade 1, considering the age of it now. This is now a 32-year-old vehicle. 32 years old. So 63 is very low mileage. It is currently registered still, so people were constantly driving it up until the time of sale. It has a 5-speed manual AC. The AC works in this one. Alloy wheels, those are the OEM wheels. And then power windows. No power steering, but you don't have any weight over the engine, so you don't need that. And then they're skinny little tires on a tiny little car. It doesn't really feel like power steering is necessary. Sales point here, purchase from user. It's basically a dealer trade-in. Has owner's manual, warranty papers, and audio manual, which is kind of a big deal. Let me explain that in a second. Thanks to the person who bought this for cluing me in on this, because I didn't know about this, and it's very cool. Spare key is going to be sent to the owner. And here's the report from the inspector. Interior, 1 part dirty, steering wheel wear. Actually, it's very clean inside. The steering wheel doesn't have very much wear. These are kind of common things to find on these older cars. You'll see it on basically every sheet. Driver's seat side is saggy. Door mirror case is scratched. Wheels scratched. Small scratches, small dents. Various aftermarket suspension question mark. And aftermarket driver's seat question mark. Okay, so the driver's seat isn't an aftermarket one, but it has a cover that makes it look like one. I'll show you in a second. And then the suspension is usually black springs on these, and then this one's blue springs. And so it has some sort of a suspension setup that's maybe a little bit stiffer, maybe a tiny bit shorter or lower in height, but it's not significantly so. So it might be like an OEM dealer option, or maybe even like the radio, it's something that Honda started selling after the fact. Now let me quickly get into the radio here. Actually, no, let me wait on that. The body here, it says U2 and AU2 here. Let me show you this side because it looks far better in person than you would expect from this. U2 is a medium-sized dent, and apparently there are 3 of them coming down this side, 2 on the door and 1 on the rear fender. So have a good look. And it looks like the car has had some paint work. And there's a little bit of wave in it. But I'm not really seeing what would be considered a U2. You look here, here's your U2, but it kind of also just looks like paint wave. It doesn't stand out an awful lot. It's right near the edge of the tire. Let me just show you from this side as well. And that's almost it. And the other side has a more definitive dent, and yet they called that an AU1 on this side. And that is right on the body seam, right here. Right where my fingers are. So there's a crease in the body, and you can see kind of like 2 small dents in it. Now besides that, I don't think any other dents. And just a few things. I'll get to it in a second. But for now, quick little walk around. And keep in mind, this car is tiny. It's, I think, smaller in footprint than an Austin Mini. Like a little bit longer, but a little bit skinnier. I don't know. I'd like to see one side by side. I'd like to take both of them to the track, to be honest. That would be incredible. I don't think these are particularly good cars on the track, but I don't think that they're that bad. Of course, with 64 horsepower, you're never, no matter how light the car is, you're never going to be that fast on the track. Could be a lot of fun, though. And then on the street, whipping around a little in the street near all of the big cars, you're going to make yourself feel very tiny and very nippy and special with the open top. It's going to have that very cool feeling. Shout out to Colin for having one of these. I know you comment in all of our videos, and it was really cool seeing you here in Japan and driving in the mountains with the S660, which was the, I guess, the spiritual successor to the Beat. So yeah, you can buy a current Honda car that kind of looks like this, called the S660. So some of the details. The front bumper is not super shiny anymore. You can see a glossiness difference between the hood and the bumper. The hood itself is maybe faded a little bit, but if it is, it would be very light. Okay, there's this black strip that goes around the windshield, and the paint is cracked on it. Let's see if we can get a proper focus. And this is something you're going to find on a lot of these Beats. Unfortunately, it was painted in this rubber-ish paint that shrinks over time, and then the yellow paint that's underneath, the same color as the chassis, really shows through. So a lot of these have either been repainted, or you can see those cracks. Okay, coming down here, we got the door mirror having a little scratch. Side panel is good, and then a little bit of fade in this plastic insert that goes in for the functional side vents. Okay, now the soft top is in good condition. The back window is nice and clear. It's not in perfect condition though. It has the edges of it sealed with some sort of a sealant, I guess to prevent it from cracking. It's a flexible sealant. It's visible. I don't think it looks that bad, but it is noticeable. Okay, the trunk here, of course, has these two little vents for the engine room. Very cool. I wonder if you drive one of these on a hot day. Maybe Colin can say in the comment section, if you look in your rear view mirror, if you can see the wavy lines coming up through there, because that's one of the cool things I like doing with any car with a hood scoop. You can see the wavy lines on a hot day. Okay, you'll find some people that cut out the little holes in the back here. This one has not been cut out. All right. OEM tailpipe on there, and even with the OEM tailpipe, the sound that comes out of it is insane, especially at higher RPM. And the car kind of shakes a little bit at higher RPM. You get the high vibration from the engine. It is a 3-cylinder after all, but that kind of adds to the drama of the vehicle and makes it feel a little bit more, you know, like you're going faster, or there's I don't know the words to say. It makes it feel more significant than your regular softer car. Now the paint in this section here I'm kind of pointing out is like some spots here. Now I did a video called the side panel check that comes along with all the other videos with the report, and I didn't notice anything because from the other angle I couldn't see it, but from this angle you can. Okay, now same thing here with the vent is a little bit faded, and then you have some touch-up paint and some chips there. The rest of this is looking fine, and then the door mirror here has some scratches. Okay, all in all, pretty good looking compared to your average Beat. But yeah, 63,000 kilometers in 30-something years. That's like 2,000 kilometers a year. It's really cool. And it's not a 5-digit odometer in this. Some of the other K cars do have 5-digit odometers, but not this one. Here's something you rarely see on the Beat is door cards that aren't horribly faded. They may have been replaced at some point. Okay, and that goes for both door cards. This is a seat cover for the bride seat, or as they say in Japanese, burrito. Kind of sounds like Mexican food, doesn't it? And then if you feel it, it has a rip, or not, I'm not sure if there's a rip. There might be. Underneath here. You can't actually pull this up to check. You have to take the seat out to take the seat cover off. But it sinks in here. This is the saggy seat that they were talking about. And this one here is the same zebra print seat that you get on the passenger side. These are the only seats that came from the factory, as far as I know. And it'll be the same one underneath, and they're prone to ripping right here. So, kind of hard to get one that is not ripped. I have a few scratches in this area here, a little parcel deck that you can put things on because you don't really have a trunk in this. Oh, and look at this. The timing belt was changed at 26,000 kilometers in 2009. Kind of weird for an 8-year-old car with 26,000 kilometers to have the timing belt changed, but good that it was done, I guess. And look at this, 155 tires on the front. 155 and 165s. Teeny tiny little tires. Okay, steering wheel looking pretty good. I am in love with Honda. The fact that they put the tachometer right in the middle. Honda and Subaru, you get points for that. Okay, and then 2 different colors. I thought it was a little bit weird that they did this, but I think it is cool. You got the white and the black face gauges. And then look at that, revs to 8,500 RPM. Okay, you got more zebras down here. The floor mats are in good condition, not fantastic, but good. You have little areas of wear for where the pedals go. The plastic in here is in good condition. Now I got to show you this, and I got to tell you about it because this just blew my mind. The Honda Beat was sold from like, I don't know, 91 until 95 or something like that. In 2011, Honda decided to come out with an upgraded stereo system that you could buy for your Beat. In 2011, that's like 15 years after they went out of production. They didn't make a Beat at that time. And they're like, let's do some R&D into getting a new audio system for the Beat. And here it is. It comes with this cool little screen, full color screen. Comes with adapters. Now apparently you can get them for iPhone of the era. And this one just comes with USB. There's also an auxiliary as one of the cables. One of the questions that was asked is, do they come with any other cables? This appears to be the only one that's in here. So USB auxiliary cable, and then you can listen to your music. It's not Bluetooth. I kind of wish that it was, but yeah. The reason why I think is because a single DIN or double DIN stereo system can't fit into the Beat. There are some aftermarket units that will widen this to allow it to go in, but this is too narrow of a column in order to have the single DIN or double DIN stereo system. So I have seen a few with this, and I always wondered what it was, but now I know. Factory Honda, 15 years later, upgraded audio system that you could buy, and I think it was somewhere around local yen, so 60,000 yen, which is about $500. Really not too expensive for that, and a cool little system. Okay, let's shut this off and do the rest of the interior. Okay, so it's a small interior, and you sit really low to the ground here. I think up to about 6 feet should be able to drive it comfortably, and over that, I guess it depends on the size of your body. I'm 5'10" and have no issue with the interior of this. If you are a larger 5'10", you might have some issue. I've got long legs, which matters a lot for comfort in a car, but I'm completely fine. Here's my foot on the clutch at the seat at the full back position. I got a full straight leg. Okay, shifting has nice linkages. They are not by cable, they are by linkage. AC is working. These here are the upgraded stereo system. Not all of them come with this, but because they're right next to the windshield, they sustain a lot of sun damage. These ones don't appear to have any damage in the cones, like most of the ones that I've seen. I also look down here, and I'm not sure if that is another speaker, but it looks like one. Maybe that's a sub. And then you get speakers in the doors as well. So a component, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 speakers at the very least. Okay, a place to put your tapes. Although this is no longer a tape deck, so that's no good anymore. It doesn't smell like anything. I don't think the ashtray has been used, nor the cigarette lighter. You get the tiniest little glove box. It has the auction sheet and a few other things in there. Okay, you have a road flare. As per Japanese road regulations, you need those. And yeah, it just looks good. The M-Trek Honda Beat. Okay, well that's going to be the end of the report for this one. I love a Honda Beat, and I think a lot of people should maybe give one a try. They're a nice car to have for a bit, and then sell it on to someone else to have a good, fun little toy for a bit once you're done with it. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.